Hey, this is Jenny Jones, SaaS Use Case TV. Now, so what I wanted to do was give you, show you how to set up an agency account here in LaunchCart. Now, what I want to do is some of this I've already did because I wanted to make sure that it went and flowed the way that I wanted it to flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through basically how I set that up. So now if you have an account, a tier 3, a tier 2 or 3 from the appsumo, I think tier 3 gives you 10 stores, tier 4 gives you 25 stores, and I think a tier 5 gives you 100 stores, right? I think it's $5.99 or $6.99 just to get that. So you have to keep in mind that you still have to stay within your margins of what you want to charge someone else, because only thing you're basically doing is you're basically reselling a service. So, because a person can go and get LaunchCart on their own. If you're going to be their maintenance person, or the person that does the updates, or the person that sets up the API to Printful or Printify, then you have to make sure that you keep a margin enough for yourself. And what I mean by that is, if their growth plan, which is essentially what you would be giving them, you'd be granting them the same access powers of a growth. So if you were going to be doing that, they charge $97 a month for that, then you'd have to charge your maintenance on top of that. So you'd be basically charging them $150 a month, or maybe more, right? So you'd be charging them $150 a month, but they would depend on you to do everything for them. That's a non-technical person. But again, when you have a non-technical person, you have a tendency to do a lot of the work. So you have to make sure that it's worth it. So $150 a month, it really depends on how much they would call you and or access you. I would leave that to email. Now, you're going to find out that, and I went over and I tested out, the new store that you set up will still have access to the chat widget, which that can probably get overwhelming for LaunchCart. We don't know how long that may last. I wouldn't depend on that, because once they start seeing the cost, if they're doing 100 stores, then that's going to add up pretty much, because basically what they're doing is they're using their own staff and resources to manage that. So again, I wouldn't buy it to depend on the chat widget. They may disable that. I've seen some companies do that in the past, because they end up getting bombarded by a whole bunch of people that are not really familiar with the store and the lay of the land. So the way you basically set that up is you go into your master account, right? And then you go to settings, and then you go to staff. So again, when you're setting up staff is basically anybody that can access the store that you grant them to, right? They can do that, but they must have, you must set up the store first, right? So you have to set the store up first. So here you go create new store, right? And I've already did that already for a store. I've already created the new store, right? Once I create the new store, then I assign the staff to that store. And that's how that works, right? So let me see if I can show you basically how I did that, because I already did it and I walked through it. I wanted to make sure that I had the agency steps down perfect. So let me show you something. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go to create store. So I'm going to call this Acme well, I'm trying to see Academy. They're not gonna I'll put Academy 2. I don't really want to create the store, because it's going to delete my store, right? So I'll just call it'll delete my other store. It'll take up a store slot. So I don't really want to do that. So I'll call it Acme Academy 2. But you know that I'm creating for Acme Academy. I just wanted to do that because I don't want to take up a store, right? So when you click store URL, then it gives you, because if I'd have put Acme Academy, it wouldn't accept it, because I already have a store in here called Acme Academy. We're going to look at it. And then it says apply your available store licenses. You have 7 left. I don't want to tie up a store because I've already created a demo store. It's called Acme Academy. So once you do that, you hit create. Now let's take a look at Acme Academy and let's see how that looks. So we essentially created a store called Acme Academy, right? So inside Acme Academy this is the store that I'm going to grant the staff powers to. So that's what you do. You create your store first, then you go to the store, and then you grant. Then from there is how you grant your staff, right? So first thing you do, set your store up. Second thing you do is grant staff to the store. So whoever the client is, you want to set this up. Maybe you collected a form from them and says, hey, what do you want the name of your store to be? What do you give me your email address? And I'm going to invite you to that store. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to set the staff up. Then I'm going to show you what their email looks when it shows up. All right. So you're going to go to staff here. You're going to click staff. All right, so once you hit staff, you're going to always be the store owner, right? If you're at the top, you're going to always be the store owner. I think I've seen in their notes, they said if you're no longer the store owner, if you transfer ownership, then that defaults back. If you ever transfer ownership, it's going to default back to their standard offers. You'll lose your AppSumo privileges. You'll lose everything that goes with it once you transfer it. So they did say that. So you'll lose everything there, right? So what you're going to do is you're just going to add staff. Now, let me show you what it looks like to add staff. So this is the staff that I added here. Again, I've already went through this with the store. I'm the store owner. I added staff. And so I'm going to add another staff to this particular store, just showing it as though I did this for the first time. So you'll be able to see that. So let's go to add staff here. All right. So once you get to add staff, you're going to say, who do you want to add? And this is the person that says, hey, the person, they filled out a form for you. Hey, I'm going to set up a store for you. I need your email, your first name, and your last name, right? That's all you need from them and the name of their store, right? And that's what you'll need from them if you're collecting a form. So what you then do is you then go and you say, all right, let me see what permissions I want them to have, right? I can go check all. And they're never going to be able to see the store plan. So they'll never know that you bought this from AppSumo or on a deal or anything like that. You'll know, and they can't go into the store plan to be able to select and do their own store. They're going to get everything from you. You cannot, I cannot stress the fact that you're saying, hey, I was part of an exclusive offering. I have an opportunity to offer you the growth plan. They want it for $97. I can offer it to you for $57, but I'll do the maintenance on it for another $100 a month. So you can charge them $157. And so what they're basically doing is they're basically buying you and your expertise to set this store up for them and connect up all their t-shirts and all that other stuff. That's the way you're selling this, right? You're not selling this as this is your company or not. No, you had the opportunity to purchase it, right? And so you can set up, you can give them everything, right? That way you don't think that they're hiding anything from them. What's going to be most important is you're going to have to set up their payments and all that other stuff, right? They're going to have to give you access to their Stripe and all that other stuff. And then you can set that up, right? So I've done that before for some of my clients. So you're going to do all of that and you're going to get the same powers that you would normally have at the growth level, right? So I think the growth level, you can set up 10 pages in the drag and drop builder, which I don't know if that's even a big deal because you're going to create the page. You're just going to create a simple page for people to purchase stuff, right? But you do know if they're on the growth plan, then they're going to get 10 pages. If you're on the scale plan, then they're going to get unlimited pages. So that could change, right? They're not going to be able to set up their own staff. Right? They're not going to have access to set up their own staff. They're not going to be able to do that. They're not going to be able to see billing. All right. But they will be able to see pretty much everything else, right? They can do live selling. That's something that's important, right? They're going to probably need you to help them do that as well. So what I would do is I would have 2 maintenance plans. I'd have a basic maintenance plan that would allow them to find a time on the calendar to discuss. And then I would do another plan, more of an email plan. Hey, you can do, or a bulk plan says, hey, once a week, I'll make all your changes or something like that. You'd have to be very conscientious of how you set that up and test it up first, test it out and see what works well. Some people are going to get over on you because it's going to be your first time if it is your first time launching an agency, you'll have to do trial and error on at least one or two people. It's just, man, I don't need this person calling me 24/7, emailing me 24/7, or what is that time worth for you to do that? And you'd have to bill them appropriately. You don't want to make it too much, right? But then if somebody really in their store is growing and doing all that, and you're being a heavy maintenance on them, you may want to set up the contract that you can have an out clause, or you can have a clause that if their store grows to X amount, then it'll require more maintenance from you, and they'd have to upgrade to your highest package, whatever that may be. So you do want them to have the ability to get in first and be successful. Then that way they need you and they can't leave, right? Or nobody makes any money. Then the next thing is nobody else can ever manage their store for them. You own the store, right? So it's really, they're kind of locked into you. And if they want to start learning and doing the maintenance on their own, then they could probably drop the maintenance plan. If they drop the maintenance plan, then you could probably just charge them, a little bit less than the 97 it would be for the growth plan. Says, hey, you no longer want maintenance. I'll still give you a $20 discount. So I'll still charge you 77. You're still saving $20 a month, right? So that's something that you can do. So let's go ahead and take a look at the email and see what happens when the email comes over. And then let's go back in and let's kind of see what happens. But again, the first thing you have to do is you have to create a store. Then from that store, you have to go, once you created the store, then you just go down to staff and you set them up with their email, password and all that. They're going to accept it on their end. There's going to be a log and everything, let you know when they accepted it, and everything should work out cool. All right. So see you in the next portion. All right. So after you set them up as a staffer, and again, you're trying to set up an agency now, it's really just an agency where you're just managing stores for someone or setting them up. You're going to probably have to do a lot of the work. It's not white labeled because everything still says launchcart. You'll see that here. You actually still see that in the email that's sent out to them, and they're considered staff members, right? So they're basically considered staff members that manage the store. But in your eyes, you're still an agency and you're just doing a lot of the technical heavy lifting for them. So if that's something that you want to do. Now, they're still going to see launchcart. What they're going to also see is that they're not paying a regular price. So you really have to undercut. You really have to undercut the store and what they sell. So you're giving them all the features of the medium to large size offering that they have, but you're basically undercutting them. So let's say if that's $79 or what have you. Actually, let's look at the price here real quick. So if the growth plan is $97, which growth plan is that allows you to at least have enough staffers to do anything with, then they're going to get all the attributes of the growth plan, but it's going to say they're on a free plan. And I'll show you that in a minute. So what happens is when you hit accept invitation, you're going to go to a screen like this. So once you go in there, they're going to ask you first name, last name, then they're going to ask you to set up a password. So as soon as you get in there, you're going to come there and it's going to say, boom, you have been invited to a new launchcart store. Accept your invitation to manage the store. You can actually inherit all the actual attributes of the main store. So at least a tier 3 and above gets you the growth and gets you the ability to have all the other access. So then here you have to put your store name. The store name is here. I created Acme Agency. I'd already created the store. Then I created the the staff underneath this particular store. So I showed you that in the previous screen. So once you accept it, then you just move forward and then you can create your store. All right. So once you've logged in, this is the agency person, or I am John Doe, who I set up account for, Acme Agency. That's who I set up this account for. As you'll notice here, they still, if you notice here, this is who you are. So you have your staff account, you're on a growth account. Again, that's what I have on the growth. I have 3 tiers, so it's made me a growth. So you basically that's what you have there. You've inherited all the attributes of the original store. Now what I want to do is, and then you can set this up like you would set up everything else. You would come here, person has access, they could set up their payment plans, things of that nature, right? It's going to be directly just for this particular store, Acme Agency. So this is your staff. So your staff your staff is your agency member. So if you wanted to get a tier 5 or a tier 4, 25 stores or 100 stores, a tier 5, then you can actually set up and manage 100 stores for 100 different stores. If you're just an agency and that's something you want to do, that's something that you can possibly do. What you run into the fear of doing is, as you run into the point where someone may want to start running their own stores. And so if you're charging them under my growth plan, the company charges $97 to get an account with them. So you'd basically, if they're getting a growth account, you can't really charge them more than $97. Now, what you can do is, because you're doing all the maintenance on it, you can sell them the plan for, I don't know, $47, and then sell them a maintenance package that exceeds the 97, because you're going to be basically managing it. So if it's 97, then you can say, hey, I'm going to charge you, $150 a month, right? So you have a little small spread there. You can charge them, about $53 or so. You can have, and you'd basically be making you'd basically have a spread of $53 to them, but you're making $150 per site. So that's what you could do. And that's if you have the time, you want to do that. But what you'd have to do is you'd have to set up, I think here they still have access. Let's see here. Yeah, they still have access to the help, right? Which is good, because you don't want to do all that. But what you do want to do is you do want to let them know, hey, this is a staff account. Try to ask me first, or try to ask the help widget. I don't know if LaunchCart's going to be able to support that, because these are basically free accounts that they'd be having to service with their overhead. So I don't, honestly, just doing the numbers, I don't know if that's going to work out for them. There has to be a way they can disable this or allow you to put in your own chat widget. That's definitely another question I need to ask him. So you can basically set this up. Only thing they can't do is set up staff, obviously, and they can't look at the store plan, right? They can't do that, but they do get access to the email settings. And so they're basically getting access to the growth plan. They're just not getting access to anything as far as setting up their own accounts and things of that nature. So they can't even set their own, because a normal growth plan will allow you to set up at least 5 staff. They're not getting that. So they're not getting the ability to do that. So again, they can do that. They can set up their own products here. They can create new, right? They can go to print on demand. You would set up all of this, a lot of this for them. They'd still be able to do the enable and the printify. The printful and the printify. They would still be able to do that. So they can still set up their ShipStation and their OSI affiliate as well. So I would probably disable marketing, because I don't want them to go in and start looking at ShipStation and OSI. we'll probably go back and disable the marketing and see how that looks. So let's go back to the regular admin panel and let's see what happened. So I'm going to go into my master account. And again, this is Acme Agency that I set up for an agency account. So let's go back to Acme. Let's go back to my master account. And now that I've granted access for my staff member, and we're gonna disable marketing. So let's go back and do that as well. All right, so I'm logging back into my master account, and then as you can see here, the Acme store is still there. So if I want to go in and still look at that and manage that store, and we want to take the marketing rights away, so once I logged in, I just go to manage here. So I want to manage this particular store. And then I want to go to staff. So once I go into staff, it basically tells me, hey, this is the staff that I set up here. It gives you a log of, did they log in? Did they accept it? Did they reject it? Right. And it'll tell you if it was delivered. So this kind of has a log here, which I can appreciate. You want to know if they were able to get in and they were able to log in successfully. So what I want to do now is I do want to edit this staff. This is the one that I gave the access to for Acme Agency. Again, I am in Acme Agency. I'm the store owner, but this is the staff. So this is me logged in as my master account. So let's go in and let's remove the marketing from their account. I'm going to hit edit here. All right, so once I hit edit here, I want to go in and I said, hey, I don't want them to have marketing. So design market, pro builder, automatic upsells. Can I take marketing? I don't see that there's a way I can remove marketing. Can install and manage apps. So that's probably something I want to be able to do on my end. So that's probably what it is. Promotional bar, list builder, design marketplace. Yeah, so it doesn't appear as though I can take marketing away. Can install and manage apps. I'll probably take this away. So this is what this is right here. I'll take that, the App Store installs, and then I'll just manage it on my end. That's probably what I'll do. And so we got to save that. All right, so I remove that, and then we'll just save that out. So what I'll do is I'll probably just, like I said, I'll probably just remove the App Store installs here, and I'll take that away so that they don't have that ability. But I still, again, this is my master account, so you can still see that I have access here. So that's it. That's how you set up an agency account for launchcart. And again, it really depends. You'd have to do like a maintenance package because you're going to be going in and setting this up. What I challenge you is if you have to go in and do a lot of these things for your clients, or they want to update a t-shirt and all that, you're going to have to make sure you put together a pretty good marketing management package, because you're going to basically be their tech support essentially for 24 hours. Or you'd have to set up the management package on that for that to work out for you. So, hey, this has been Jenny Jones, SaaS Use Case TV. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Make sure you let people know what we're doing here. I am going to do some more advanced things. I'll probably put one more up here and kind of show you the whole Printify, Printful integration as well. I'll make that a more of an advanced video, so look for that soon. All right, thanks a lot. Goodbye for now.